Welcome back to the Bears Baseball Network. It is finally the time of the BWL Draft. This will be the first of our drafts. This is the 12-13U draft. I am here. I'm joined by my analyst, Rob Floyd. So we will have this draft first, then we'll have the 14-15U A League immediately following the conclusion of this draft, and then the last two will follow after that. So without further ado, for the 12-13U draft, the throwbacks are officially on the clock.
So I think there's really one player that you're looking to probably get drafted here. In the draft, what your first pick, you typically want a guy that can pitch and hit and hopefully field for you too. So it's kind of like getting two players. So, because Robbie gets first pick here, and then Kenny gets the next two. So Robbie wants to make sure he's going to draft a guy who can pitch and hit and do both those at a high level. So in my mind, there's really only one guy that you're thinking right now. I would assume that's the player, but we'll let the card's been given to Robbie, and we'll see what it is.
The card is in. With the first overall pick of the 12-13U draft, the throwbacks have decided to select ZZ Garcia.
Yeah, that's your pick right there. I mean, ZZ can do so many things for you. Great hitter, great attitude, great pitcher, great fielder. I mean, he is going to do a lot for that team, and he was the guy that you think is going to go number one here. And a lot of the number ones you kind of know. I mean, the fact of it is that the number one are not going to necessarily make your draft. It's going to be the guy you pick 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 that kind of make your draft. But, ZZ is hard to get this one wrong.
Yeah. This is kind of expect the first overall pick. Now the draft can go some different ways.
Yeah.
Because ZZ is probably the only player that, is a two-way player at an elite level. Now you have some guys who are really good hitters, some really good arms.
Yeah.
Kenny has a lot of options now for which way he wants to go with this draft.
Yeah, Kenny's got a lot of options here. So we'll see who his first number one pick is. It's the second pick of the draft. It is in.
With the second overall pick of the 12-13U draft, the Pinstripes have selected 13U player Cam Bernstein.
I tell you what, I don't think that would be the pick had Cam not had a monster fall on the mound. Cam was not necessarily known as a pitcher. We know he can hit. We know he's a good fielder. We know he's a great guy. If you watch the BWL players game last year, Cam was all over that. He was talking, he was having fun, so he's a fun guy. But now he's elevated himself because he can pitch, that he was Kennedy's number one pick. So that's a big pick. That's a big pick there.
Yeah, and look, it's going through Kennedy's mind that if he lets Robbie have ZZ and Cam, as far as the pitcher staff goes, that puts Kennedy in a hole very quickly, so it's nice for him to get Cam.
Yeah, and again, Kennedy can go a couple different ways here too now. Cam can hit. There's no doubt Cam can field, but I think he's drafted him to be a number one pitcher. So where does Kennedy go from here now? And this is a little bit of a surprise.
With the first pick of the second round, the Pinstripes and Kennedy Floyd have selected Caden Inman.
If you watched Caden Inman pitch last year in BWL, he was as good as they come. He took that mound. And remember, they had to play up last year. Last year, these guys that are getting drafted were the younger guys. They were playing with some of the big names, Parker Ells, Lucas Wilburn. They were playing with some of the bigger, older kids, where now they are the older kids. And let me tell you, as a younger kid last year, Caden Inman was dominant on the mound.
Yeah, another big arm.
Yeah.
Now you got Cam and Caden to give you 6 innings a week.
Yeah. So, you think, does Robbie go arm here to try to offset it? Or does Robbie say, okay, I got ZZ to be my big arm. I'm going to go bat, and there's some big bats here right now. So Robbie's number 2 pick.
Yeah, with the fourth overall pick, we will have the contrasting styles here. Robbie will select, Team Throwback will select Diego Buccio.
Again, going bat there. Diego is a big bat. He's a great kid. Now you got ZZ Garcia, Diego Buccio. Is Robbie going to add Nafri Carbaccas here? So, who does Robbie go with here? But Diego's a great pickup here.
With the fifth overall pick in the 12-13U draft, Robbie has selected the first 12U kid off the board, Harrison Bleibom.
Harrison Bleibom is now, and here's the fact. Harrison was drafted last year and played 2 years up, okay? And if you look at Harrison at the beginning of the season last year, playing 2 years up, he got a big taste of this league had a lot of curveballs. And Harrison had never really seen some of the curveballs he got, okay? But as the year went on, as the Winter League went on last year, Harrison started hitting those curveballs. We know Harrison can hit the fastball, but Harrison is, to be the 5th pick here, he's the big 12U guy. He's the leader of that 12U age. Robbie went bat here, but here's the thing. Harrison has started pitching too.
Yeah,
and we know he's going to work at pitching, and he's become a good arm too. So Robbie kind of gets. Does Diego pitch much? I don't think Diego's really a big pitcher.
Yeah, and he can get up there, but not really. He's not really a big arm for 13 foot at least.
Yeah. So now you got ZZ and Harrison Blabon that can pitch. Would ZZ be the number 2? Would Harrison be the number 2 pitcher, or is Robbie hoping to pick up a number 2 pitcher later in the draft?
It's a good question. I assume there's some good pitchers here like Josh Tyler that you can get a couple rounds. In a couple rounds here, I think that he will pick up another pitcher.
Hey, and if you watch, Josh Tyler's become a pretty good hitter too.
Yes, that's very true. With the 6th overall pick of the draft, the Team Pinstripes have selected another big bat in Garrett Knight.
That's a majorly surprise pick because Garrett Knight was a very inexperienced player, but I tell you what, he is a bomb hitter. He can catch for you. He's a good culture guy. Could Kenny have waited? Would Robbie take Garrett now in the next 2 picks?
Oh, yeah. I think he would. I think if he would have got there, I think Robbie would have taken him right. I think it's one of those things that would have been surprising before the fall.
Yeah.
But if you look at this guy's stats, you watched him play over the course of the fall. Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a surprise that he's getting picked 6th here.
Is he going to be the number 1 catcher? Because he's going to be catching guys that can throw curveballs. Is he ready for that necessarily? So it's definitely a bat pick, a bat pick. Yeah. But hey, it's an interesting pick. Good for Garrett Knight.
With the 7th overall pick of the 12-13U draft, Team Pinstripes have selected Nafri Kabarkis.
I'm a big Nafri fan, and Robbie's acting as if he's glad that Kennedy took Nafri here. In other words, Robbie had a guy that, and Robbie may be doing this for Josh Tyler, because that can complete that pitching staff. You got ZZ, you got Harrison, now Josh becomes your number 2. But Kennedy going 2 arms early, 2 older. All of his picks have been the older players. I think one of the things that Robbie talked about in the show was that he didn't value the older guys as much last year. He thought some young guys, and here's Kennedy going 4 straight, the oldest kids at this age. But Robbie celebrated like he got to have a guy that got to him. I got to think that guy's probably Josh Tyler.
This is the 8th overall pick of the draft. The Team Throwbacks have selected Josh Tyler.
Yeah, and I think Robbie now has 3 arms, and I think Josh becomes your number 2 arm. But again, he's hitting the ball hard. Okay, so this is a guy that, again, his stock has jumped up here. So now you got the first 8 picks out of the way. Okay, who will be the first 11U player to go? There's a few 11U guys that are going to be like Harrison Blabon playing 2 years up, but who will be the first 11U guy? But there's still some very good 12U guys here. You got to think. If I'm thinking you still got Brody Wilburn. You got Cale Taylor, who is an amazing fielder, okay. Will he hit the curveball with all the 13 you guys like to throw him? But, I think now is where the draft will kind of start going some different ways. We're going to see which coach did more homework. You can kind of expect these guys. Like I said, the games will be won from 5 to 10 in the round. So, who's Robbie's 5th pick?
With Robbie's 5th pick, Team Throwbacks have selected another 12U kid, Rudy Montenegro Langley.
This is a rookie here. He's a big, strong kid. Could Robbie have waited a little longer for Rudy? Possibly. Okay. He is a 12U guy in a 13U league. Is he the second best 12U guy?
Definitely. It's one of those things that I don't know if he will be at the start. But every time I see this kid, he gets better and better. I think by the end of the winter, he could definitely be, the second bat behind Harrison Blabon on this team. The upside's definitely there for him.
Yeah, but sometimes you can wait on a guy like that.
Yeah.
Was he in Kennedy's top 5 or 6?
I don't know I know Robbie has been a massive fan of Rudy, so I know he wanted to make sure he got him.
Well, he got him. He got him. That's a So Robbie, I think it's a little bit of a gamble pick. You're hoping to pay it off. And hey, I tell you what, this is a guy that Kennedy just selected. That this is a top 3 pick potential wise. Kennedy got him at 5.
Yeah, with Team Pinstripes' 5th pick, they have selected Avery McNicholas.
Avery McNicholas is a guy that lives at the Bud Dome. Okay, he's here. He's a guy who's always asking to get in the cage with me. When other teams are practicing, sometimes I let him, sometimes I don't, but he's always asking. If you look on the field, he's out there running around, and he's become a pretty darn good baseball player. I say it all the time when I'm in the cage. He squares the ball every time in the cage with me. One of the best hitters I have in the cage. So I think Kennedy kind of stole one here at 5. But yeah, it's a good pick.
And off you want to discount it, but Avery toward the end of the fall became a very solid pitcher for 13U. And on a staff that has Cam and Caden, I think Kenny's still looking for his number 3 right now.
Well, Avery might be his number 3. And again, let's look at Robbie's taken. Robbie's the one that said he was going to value the older guys. He's taken 3, 13, 2, 12. Yeah. Kenny's taken all 13. So
with Team Pinstripes' 6th pick of the draft, they have selected a 12U player in Cale Taylor.
Well, Kel is also one of those guys that gets to practice up sometimes. The kid can field. The kid can hit. If you know his dad, he has no fear. Okay, he's going to be right in the middle of it. So, it's a good. I think that pick for Kennedy. Remember, Robbie's got ZZ Garcia to play short. Who's going to play short for Kennedy over here? So, and can Kel play short? Can he be the starting shortstop?
He could definitely do that. He was a Gold Glove caliber. I know he was 12 compared to 13, but he was a Gold Glove fielder this fall.
Well, you got to think Kel's going to be sitting there playing shortstop. In our league, shortstop's going to be very important. So Robbie's got 2 picks here, and looking at it, I think he needs some 13U. He needs some 13U depth a little bit. So I would think his next pick, without looking at it, I would think his next pick. I mean, could it be a Paxton LaPlante? Could it be Phil Loback? Could it be Judd Levy? Could it be a Levy? Okay. I would think he would go, could it be a Nick Byrne?
Hey.
Could it be that? So, I'm interested to see what this pick is. This will tell you a lot about Robbie. Again, we're down in the middle of it.
With Team Throwbacks' 6th pick of the draft, they will take their first, they have no catcher, but another catcher off the board from 13U, Judd Levy.
Judd Levy, yeah. Again, you had to think it would probably be one of those guys. And Judd, first of all, Judd is a solid catcher, okay? But I got to tell you this. He's been hitting really well. I mean, he's been hitting. I hit in the cage with him. Been hitting the ball well. Good leader here. So, and again, okay, now, so Robbie, what does he do here? Does he take another 13U guy? Or does he grab... You
want a hint, Rob?
I got to tell you. No, don't give me a hint.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you a guy I might take here, okay? I might take a Hunter Finley. The guy can pitch. He can hit. So, yeah, give me a hint here.
Yeah, this is their 7th overall pick of Team Throwbacks. They have selected another 12U player, Owen Lewis.
Wow. That's a great pick.
Yeah, another guy that's a good defender in the infield.
Yeah.
Was my leadoff hitter all fall. Put up a great fall season. And he was probably seen as the ace of the team the entire fall as well.
He can pitch too?
Yep.
Okay, so now, and again, you got, who's going to play short when ZZ's pitching? Can Owen be that guy?
This team, I'd probably pick Owen Lewis, yeah.
So ZZ's going to pitch the big games, the big innings. So who's going to play short when ZZ's pitching? Owen can be that guy. Who can play second when ZZ's playing short. Owen, hey, this is a good hitter too. Mm-hmm. That's a good pickup. That's a good pickup for Robbie. So he went Judd Levy and Owen Lewis. Kenny's got the next 2 picks. At what point do we see a 10U guy? What point, 11U guy? What point do we see an Owen Haynes come off the board here? We're halfway through. So I didn't look at it.
with Team Pinstripe's 7th pick of this draft. They are staying at the 13U age, and they are taking Giovanni Paolucci.
Well, I got to tell you, Gio can do a lot of things for you. You know he's going to give it all he's got. And I think Gio is a good pick here. Does he pitch? Does Gio pitch?
In terms of winter league, I don't think he will. He can get up there, but I don't think in terms of winter league he'll throw very many innings.
Yeah. Where would he play in the field for them?
He'd probably be their, I don't know about starting second base, but he would definitely see a lot of innings second base when other guys are pitching and stuff like that.
So Kenny's taking.
He can also catch too.
Okay, that's some depth. So Kenny's taking 2 straight 12U guys. Is Phil Lobeck's name going to be called soon?
You'd assume so. Not this pick, though, sadly. With their 8th pick, the Team Pinstripes have selected 13U rookie Owen Weinbrecht.
Wow. Good for Owen Weinbrecht, man. He's not the first rookie here selected, but this is a kid that's all in. He's really busting his butt. He's all in. And Kenny's a fan of him. I think he played all fall on Kennedy's team, for the most part. But that's that's the benefit of Kennedy coaching one of these teams. He may know something about them that Robbie doesn't know. Okay, so that's a good pick for Owen. Good pick for Kennedy here. He took Gio Paolucci and Owen Weinbrecht. So Robbie's got the next 2 picks. You got to think I would think a Phil Lobeck may come off the board. A Brody Wilburn, possibly. Some different names here. Could it be Owen Haynes? Does Owen Haynes fall to later in the draft? Is it Trey Vanderhyde? Is it Hunter Finley?
Yep, it is one of those 12U rookies. It is Trey Vanderhyde.
Trey Vanderhyde. Okay, I tell you what. I got it. I know you're excited about him. For the minute I sat down with Trey and his family, it was you could see this guy's a great dad, great kid, working hard. Trying to be the guy. He's a big, strong kid, and and again, these guys are filling out their bench play right now, and they're and so if you can kind of pick a guy who is maybe a bench pick but can be a starter for you here and there, it's a good pick for Robbie. So again, I got to think Lobeck's going to go here soon.
Yeah, again, Trey's another massive upside bat.
Yeah.
With the Throwbacks' 9th pick of the draft, they have selected Phil Lobeck.
Okay, yeah, you got to think Phil, and I think this is, you look and say, did Robbie select Langley a little early? Well, in turn, he gets a Lobeck a little later. Okay, I think Lobeck probably should have went a little higher, but again, this is a great pick for Robbie. Phil can do some different things for you. He's a great attitude on the bench. He's a great cheerleader to the team, and it's a great pick at a 9 spot. So, like I said, this thing is going to be one in these picks, okay, that you could fill out your roster. So Kenny's got 9, he's got 10. Does Nick Byrne come off here? Does Nick Byrne come soon? Does Paxton LaPlante come off here? Does Owen Haynes? Does Brody Wilburn? So 2 picks here for Kennedy.
Yeah, with the Pinstripes' 9th pick, it is Brody Wilburn.
Brody Wilburn's great. Part of the Wilburn family. They're a great family for the Bears. Brody's a great kid. Good upside. He's got, good pick for Kennedy here.
Yeah, I think, at least in my opinion, probably the best player on the board at this time.
Okay, so he took the best player on the board in your opinion. If I look at the board right now, who do I think is the next best player on the board? Is Georgie?
Ooh,
do you take a culture guy? Because Georgie's a culture guy. Do you take a culture guy here if you're Kennedy?
Yeah.
Or do you say, does he wait? Does he make it to the next round for Kennedy?
We'll see, but with the Pinstripes' 10th pick, I'm going to read this name as is on the card.
Uh-oh.
It is Big Nick Byrne.
Oh, Nick Byrne! I tell you what, I don't think Nick got drafted last year, did he?
I don't believe he did.
I don't think he made an appearance either, did he?
No, I don't believe he did.
Yeah, I mean, here's a kid, again, another longtime family. Nick has worked his butt off, okay? He can pitch for you. He can get some big at bats, and he's one of those guys who's played on losing teams for so long that he's gotten hungry, he's gotten hardened, to where, hey, man, he wants to be on a winning team, and he may be one of those guys that really helps you out. Now, Robbie right here, he's got 2 straight picks. I would think a Georgie's name would be called here. Does he go for Owen Haynes? Does he go to Owen Dobrinsky here? Lucas Kloster? So when's our first 11U guy going to come off the board? Okay, I'm excited to see where Robbie goes here.
Yep, with the Throwbacks 10th pick, they have selected the first 11U player taken off the board. It is Owen Haynes.
Owen Haynes, man. Let me tell you about Owen Haynes, okay? He's going to compete. Blaybaum competed playing 2 years up. Owen Haynes is going to compete playing 2 years up, okay? Good fielder. Can play a little shortstop, third base for you. He's a guy, he's got some speed, come off the bench. So that's a good pick. First 11U guy, Owen Haynes. That's a good pick.
Yeah, and I don't know how many innings he's going to see on the mound, but I think he was debatably, Mac's best pitcher this fall as well.
Well, you look at the pitching rotation for Robbie. I mean, you're going to need some innings here and there. Maybe you're up by 8 or down by 8. Hey, let's get this guy on the mound, see what he can do, see if he can help us. I always say when you're in blowout games, whether positive or negative, you can find guys. You didn't know you might have had. So Owen Haynes is definitely a good pick for Robbie.
With the Throwbacks 11th pick of the draft, they have selected Georgie Bouzazi.
Georgie goes, and there's a culture guy. Georgie's going to give you. He's going to be that guy, like right next to Philip Lobeck, who's going to be loud. Georgie's going to be happy. Georgie's going to be proud to play in the BWL. I know there's some guys that, hey, I'm too cool. Whatever. That ain't Georgie. Georgie's going to be excited to play. Remember his I think it was his Father's Day, where he talked about, I want to thank my dad for signing me up for the Bears. I mean, Georgie loves the Bears, okay? And he gives it everything he has. He hasn't become a superstar, but he's been a guy who went back and forth on the top team and second team. He's definitely a culture guy. So I like that pick. You got to think, where's a Paxton LaPlante go? And I know he plays hockey. So is he going to miss some stuff? But when he's there, he might be able to help you. And this is where you take a Paxton LaPlante, I think, or one of these next couple picks.
With the Pinstripes 11th pick of the draft, they have selected Jacob Lowry.
Jacob Lowry. Let me tell you about Jacob Lowry. You gotta, and he's an unproven player, obviously. Okay, and he's a super nice kid. But let me tell you, Mom and Dad are fired up to be Bears. Okay, they're people don't think we look at who likes our page or who likes some of the comments that we make. The Lowrys are on there. Okay, Jacob gets a hit, Lowrys are posting about it. Okay, they are all in, and we know from the past those kind of guys do well in the Bears. So this again. Here's a culture pick for Kennedy. I don't think Jacob's super fast, so he's not a guy who's going to pinch run for them a little bit. Jacob is there to get some opportunities here and there. I like that pick, and Kennedy probably could have reversed this. I see the pick. Kennedy could have probably reversed it, but I like that he put Jacob Lowry first because that shows some value to the Lowry. He's saying, hey, listen, I see you liking the page, I see you posting about it, I'm going to draft your son. But this is a smart pick by Kennedy. We talked about who may have been the best player on the board and why he was still on the board, but this is a good pick for Kennedy.
Yeah, with the Pinstripes 12th pick, they have selected Paxton LaPlante.
Yeah, he's the right guy there. And again, I know if he wasn't playing hockey, he'd be a top 5-6 pick. Okay, he can field, he can hit, and that's part of it. If you miss your practice that week, you're not eligible. If you miss workout, if you miss the Saturday workout, you're not eligible. So when you look at Paxton, he may miss some stuff. Okay, so but if he's there half the time and you got him in the 12th spot, that's probably a good pick, right? These are going to be Robbie's last 2 picks, round out his roster. And if you don't get drafted, you can still be picked up as a free agent. Okay, so we talked about many guys got on the field. Who was this pick? If I was picking in this spot, who am I taking here? Am I taking Owen Dobrinsky? I mean, here's a kid who's always decked out in necklaces, and he's going to be fired to be here. Am I taking a Dobrinsky here? Am I taking again? Why is Hunter Friendly still on the board, man?
Yeah, with the throwback 12th pick of draft, they have selected 12-year rookie Hunter Finley.
Hunter Finley, yeah. I mean, that's again, Robbie. Again, you look at that pitching staff. Okay, you got ZZ, you got Blaybomb. You got Tallier. Now you pick up a kid who may get you some innings on the mound here too, Hunter Finley. I believe in Hunter. He's another guy that's all in. You see him and his mom and dad up here all the time. That's a good pick by Robbie. And his last pick here, if I'm picking the picks here, this is 100% a gamble pick. Okay, who's a guy who maybe can come up with a big hit in a spot? Again, Owen Dobrinsky. I'm gonna throw that name out there a little bit. Could be picked up here. Could it be a Gabe Brown? We talked about Gabe Brown before the draft here. So could it be could be Tucker? Who knows? So
yeah, with the throwbacks, last overall pick, the 13th pick, they have selected another 12U player, Rowan Schroeder.
Again, here's a guy who can he do any more? Rowan is not the best player at that age, but again, you see him up here every day, constantly up here. Parents are all in, so this is a good culture pick for Robbie going with Rowan here. And again, he's a guy that might come to the plate and surprise you and knock one out of here. So that's a really good pick. The last pick of the draft, Mr. Irrelevant, not really, but that's what they call it in NFL. But you're going so many ways. Could it be Whedon Highland who can go on the mound and do some things for you? So I'm not looking. I looked obviously, but
the last overall pick of the draft from Team Pinstripes, Carson Werner.
Yeah, you know what? Again, this is where a Kennedy might know something that Robbie doesn't know. Okay, so what do you want from your 13th pick? Just a guy that can maybe overachieve here, get you on the you're relying on ZZ to win games, not Carson, but but hey, you're relying on Cam Bernstein to win games, and not necessarily Carson. But it's a good pick for Kennedy here.
Yeah, so that will wrap up our 12-13U draft. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with the 14-15U A-League draft.